I've umpired high school baseball for a handful of years, and I still do summer league. And I've been not only is the basketball program great at Highland, the baseball program is too, and it's crazy because I've umpired a bunch of schools, and I'm sure it's like this in basketball too. But everything with that school's sports teams is just different than every other school.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it other than I love doing their games because no one ever yells at me, right?
Yeah.
Kids never yell at me. Never once has a
Yeah.
kid gotten mad at me because they're told not to or whatever. And also, it's one of those schools that they could be down 6 runs in the second inning and they'll come back and win. I know a lot of schools is complete opposite. They'll implode. And I see it. I've done all levels of baseball. Even their little league starts like that. And I was wondering what is going on in the culture there, the Highland sports culture that makes kids work like that.
And I've told this to multiple people. The work ethic that I learned going to school there and from my high school basketball coach carries over into my fighting and even my business. Kind of like it's like an overall life lesson thing. You know, like when you're young like that and it gets, you know, over and over again, work ethic. You know, if you're the most talented person in the room, but you don't have a work ethic, somebody who's going to work harder than you, who isn't as talented as you, is going to beat you.
Bro Plata is back on a Monday. Yes, we're recording on a Saturday, but it is a Monday for this episode drop. You can see all of our YouTube episodes, obviously on YouTube. Just search Bro Plata. We are also available on Anchor FM, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and wherever else you get your podcast needs met. We are the Bro Plata podcast. And next to me, to my right, is the beautiful man who has just showered. He told me off air yesterday on our last episode. He's like, my shower day's coming up. He is freshly faced boy.
Shower day.
And then I gotta wash the critters out of the beard and whatnot.
I feel you.
I mean, look at him. He looks like he's 4 days away from being the best homeless man ever. He is so cute. That is,
Ray, I've said this a million times. I'm way too fat to be homeless, man. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
It would probably improve your health at one point.
I'm sure. Homelessness would improve my life expectancy exponentially.
And I am Ray Hyclak, and this is the Bro Plata podcast. We have the wonderful, the amazing. He has fought for Honor Fighting Championship, Cage Thunder. He has also done Rubber City. What's the organization called? Rubber City Throwdown, I believe it's called.
Yeah.
Yes, Lucas. And here's the best part. He owns his own barbershop, everybody.
Not anymore. I sold it.
You sold it?
I sold it. I own a women's hair salon though still, so.
Well then, ladies, go get your hair cut by this man. What was the movie? I can't remember. There's a movie about Shampoo. Have you ever seen Shampoo? It's an old 70s film about like a guy who cuts hair. It's this like weird, it's basically what the stereotype you think of, like, because I've dated a lot of cosmetologists in my life. So, and they're always like, guys would clean up if they cut women's hair because like I have since like 18. I dated a cosmetology student in 17.
Is that like a fetish? Like a cosmetologist?
No, it's just how it works.
For Ray, raising the fat chicks who cut hair. That's
mostly the fat chicks can be the fetish for sure. I will say that.
That's fair.
But yeah, I can't remember who's in that movie, but it's about a guy cutting hair, and he just.
How old is this movie?
Like 74.
Lucas, we didn't tell you this. Ray is 64 years old. Ray is old as fuck.
I love classic
There's no way I watched that.
I have no idea what he's talking about either.
Did
you introduce him yet? Did you say his name? I don't think you did.
But let's introduce him since we're on the ADD radio. pro MMA fighter Lucas Mast, everybody. Give it up for Lucas Mast.
What's up?
Thanks for being here, buddy.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, we appreciate you having it on for sure, man. So, you're originally where are you originally from in Ohio? I see on profiles it's at Berlin or Millersburg. Are you from that area?
Yeah, I'm from. Yeah, I mean, I think at my fights they've announced me from Berlin and Millersburg.
Okay,
it just depends on which fight, whatever. But yeah, like I grew up in this area. I went to high school here. Went to elementary school here. Berlin and Millersburg are right beside each other, so I kind of view myself as being from both those areas, but spent most of my time in Berlin, though.
Okay. I have a question.
That's where my businesses are. Yeah.
About the city of Berlin. And I want to preface this by saying it is a gorgeous city. I've been there before.
There's no way this is going to be good. There's no way this is going to be good. What are you going to ask him?
Why is it a dry city? Like, why is it, man? It's like
I don't know. I think it's based off of like conservative people, the amount of conservative people that live here, and like the people that are in charge of stuff. I don't know. I think the people that are in charge of stuff are also conservative, and so I don't know.
It's just strange to me because like I'm from like Cleveland area, so that to me is a foreign concept, and I went down there with a girlfriend for like a couple of days to just hang out and everything. Yeah.
Did she cut hair?
We had to like carry. Yes, actually.
Of course she did. Of course she did.
Oh, she did. I dated her for 3 years. That's how I had such nice hair at one point.
Nice.
It was free, man. It was awesome. But like we had to carry around solo cups at the resort area we were at. And I'm like, why?
Oh, did you guys stay at the Berlin Resort?
Yeah, with like the little village in the back and everything. Yeah.
I'm getting married there in a week.
Oh,
next Saturday.
Congratulations, brother.
Thank you. Yeah, out on that lawn area.
Yeah.
Getting married out there next Saturday.
Congratulations again, man. That's awesome. How long have you have the future missus been together?
8 years.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, we've been together since my what?
Oh, I was gonna say, was she with you when you started fighting?
No. Okay. So yeah, we started dating beginning of my junior year in high school. Well, I guess it was both of our junior years.
That's awesome.
And then we were apart for like a year and a half, like right when I started fighting.
Okay.
And then it was my second title fight as an amateur, I think. Right before that fight, we got back together, and obviously we were together since then and got engaged in March.
That's awesome, man.
Since we were quarantined, we were like, might as well plan a wedding and get it over with because we got nothing else to do.
I'm noticing during the quarantine, there's probably going to be two things happen: rise in marriages and also divorce. Like it's going to even itself out at some point.
Or a lot of babies.
Pregnancies.
That too. There's going to be a boom for sure.
Yeah. We have a whole lot of kids.
Where did you or Tim? Do you have a question or?
I think you were going to ask the same question. I was going to ask: did you go to Highland High School?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not familiar with that area.
You're not. You're not? Okay. Race from Mentor. Okay.
Yeah.
So from the outside looking in, Highland Athletics did you play sports?
Yeah, I played basketball.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
Yeah.
Highland basketball is an enigma. I can't figure it out. Because Highland's a very small school. Like how many kids are in that school? Maybe 120?
Well, my graduating class was like 64, I think.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay. Ray's was like 8,000 because they went to a fancy big kid school.
Yeah.
Big school.
800, actually.
800. Okay.
Take a zero off.
Okay, 800. Well, year after year, their basketball team, for some reason, for being a very small town, very small school, are fantastic. Boys and girls.
Yeah.
They just run people out of the gym. Man.
Yeah.
Did you win any state championships when you were there?
Yeah, so I was on the team. I was my sophomore year we won. I was crippled until my junior year. But I did play a little bit my sophomore year, but I was recovering from a torn ACL. But yeah, my sophomore year, my freshman and sophomore year, we won back-to-back. But my freshman year, I was out with a fractured it was like right underneath my knee, like my shin bone, I think. Yeah. And then the very following year, I tore my ACL right before the season started. So I was out that year too until my junior year. But yeah, it was my freshman and sophomore year we won. And then junior and senior year, we made it to like, it was past, what is it, sectionals? And then sectionals. And then what's the next one after that?
When it comes to
Regionals.
basketball, yeah, regionals, I would assume, yeah.
I think we made it up until then.
Okay.
So yeah, when district, sectional, and then regional. We made it up until regionals my junior and senior years.
Okay, cool. Did you play any other sports besides basketball?
No, just one sport. Yeah, I have.
okay.
I got 4 siblings, so we were allowed to play one sport, so that my parents wouldn't be driving all over the place when we were younger.
I can definitely see that.
By the time I got my license, I'd been playing basketball, so I just stuck with that. So
nice, very cool.
Yeah. I've umpired high school baseball for a handful of years, and I still do summer league. And not only is the basketball program great at Highland, the baseball program is too, and it's crazy because I've umpired a bunch of schools, and I'm sure it's like this in basketball too. But everything with that school's sports teams is just different than every other school.
Yeah,
I don't know how to explain it other than I love doing their games because no one ever yells at me, right?
Yeah.
Kids never yell at me. Never once has a kid gotten mad at me because they're told not to or whatever. And also, it's one of those schools that they could be down 6 runs in the second inning and they'll come back and win. I know a lot of schools is the complete opposite. They'll implode. And I see it. I've done all levels of baseball. Even their little league starts like that. And I was wondering what is going on in the culture there, the Highland sports culture that makes kids work like that.
And I've told this to multiple people. The work ethic that I learned going to school there and from my high school basketball coach carries over into my fighting and even my business. Kind of like it's like an overall life lesson thing. Like when you're young like that, and it gets over and over again, work ethic. If you're the most talented person in the room, but you don't have a work ethic, somebody who's going to work harder than you, who isn't as talented as you, is going to beat you.
Oh, hell yeah.
And so ever since I was young, starting in sports, going like not even when I was in high school, but before that, when I was around people that were trying to, play for Highland, or they were playing in their, like, I don't know what you call it, like their younger leagues and stuff like that.
Rec leagues,
there's always there's always that work ethic factor. And I think that carries into all the sports teams into that school. And then for me, it worked when I was going into fighting and business and stuff like that. That work ethic is what, got me to where I am.
And I'm sorry, I was just going to say that the fact that the coaching is like that all the way through.
Yeah.
They teach you that kind of work ethic and that kind of discipline all the way through. I see it in Little League, right, all the way to high school, and I don't see that in any other town. I mean, the fact that I've told strangers about Highland athletics just because I'm just really impressed. Yeah. He's laughing at me, but no, seriously.
No.
I'm hired a lot of schools baseball, and I've seen the complete opposite. And like I said, they're an enigma, but they're great to watch.
I've seen, and I was part of Menor. I mean, there's times even
all right, we got to talk about your big school. All right, go ahead.
No, here's the thing. It's the truth. What you guys
Lucas's school doesn't even have a football team.
Well,
or wrestling.
Or wrestling.
Really? Or wrestling?
Yeah. But what they do, they're good at.
Yeah. No, it's true though, because like from my experiences at Menor, like we had some of supposedly the best athletes. We had some of the biggest guys. We had the best football team. But when it came down, and I'm not saying even for the 07 team because that was mine, and we went to 4 overtimes against Xavier and couldn't. It just was a bounce of the ball, really, of the football. But like I've seen that with like smaller town high schools and stuff, and even in their like smaller leagues, that there is that certain push a little more than in like a bigger suburb, like a suburb. There's that. I hate to say hardness, but I mean, given the like area that you guys live in and the remoteness of it, there is kind of that like we need to like be hardworking and nose to the grindstone, and I've always respected that. Like I've always respected that as an athlete, and even as a referee, I love those teams that just come in and know, okay, we're good, and then we go from there. So
exactly. I
was going to ask last thing on Highland. We'll eventually start talking about your fighting. I promise. Do you think it's because of the community? Because this community
I think that has something to do with it. I think everybody that lives here has a little, it might not be just their grandparents or, their aunts and uncles and stuff like that. But I think everybody at some point came from like an Amish background that's from here. And obviously, the Amish have I don't know what you call it, a title of hardworking. I don't know.
Yeah.
Those guys, like Amish people are always hardworking. They, they go out every day and they work from when the sun comes up till the sun goes down, and they work hard. And I think everybody kind of comes from that lifestyle at some point if they live around here. And so I think that definitely contributes to the fact of how hard everybody works around here.
Well, it's definitely what everyone thinks, man. Everybody from outside of Berlin just thinks that you're a bunch of Amish kids beating everybody's ass. Whatever works, man.
Yeah.
You guys should have just grown beards because of the fact they thought that and been like, yeah, screw off.
Yeah, I wish I could. I tried. I look like a Mexican, to be honest. If I.
Oh, I love it,
bro. The other day I just got asked if I was Arabic. Like,
I was like,
no, I'm Amish. Yeah, I'm Amish.
It's the same thing.
Yeah, same thing.
So, what age did you start getting into fighting? Because I've seen that you've done boxing and mixed martial arts. Which came first, the chicken or the egg on that one?
It was MMA.
Okay.
I actually didn't start anything. I didn't even know anything about fighting until I think I was just about to turn 20, 19 or 20 years old. Yeah, so it was only like 4 years ago.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Dang, man. You look like you. Oh, no, continue. Sorry about that.
No, you're good. It's been a really fast road. It's been a fun road, but it's been really fast as far as like when I started to like, holy shit, like, let's take a fight to holy shit, like we're 6 fights in and we get a title, we're fighting for titles now. And like now you're starting to talk about being pro and stuff. And I was like, God damn, that was like 3 years ago I just started this, but whatever, let's do it.
Do you get that because I've noticed that with a lot of fighters, it goes into that like flow state where you just, once you're in and next thing you know, you're on top. How does that feel like? And I know you just like emoted it, but at the same time, like your first day in like the gym, I want to know that day. Were you nervous? How, like, what was your first impressions of going into like a mixed martial arts gym, sight unseen, never done a thing? What was that like for you?
Okay, so a little bit of a backstory is when I was in high school, I wanted to wrestle, and I asked my parents if I could maybe possibly transfer to try to wrestle. I don't know what made me want to wrestle. I just knew I felt like I would be good at it.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously that didn't happen, but I didn't even know like there was a MMA gym or anything like that around where I lived. Like I thought that was always like, you got to go to Cleveland, Columbus, like you got to go to a big city to do that stuff. And when I opened the barbershop in 2016, my coach at the time, when he first started coaching me, was when he came into the barbershop. He's a barber as well. Came in asking for a job and stuff like that. And so I was like creeping on him, like looking for stuff on like Facebook, like what type of dude he is and all this different stuff. And I saw that he's like an MMA coach. And I was like, no shit, like I think I'd be good at that. And at the time I was like 225 pounds. Wow. Like I just gotten out of barber school. I did nothing but eat pizza and drink beer for like the last like year solid and like lift heavy weights. Like I did no cardio. It was all just straight like pizza, beer, lift weights. And so I was weighing like 225 pounds and I was like, dude, I have to do something. Like this is bad. And so I was like, yeah, let me go try it out. Like at least if I'm not good at it, at least it'll get me in shape. And so I texted him, we set it up. I went out to the gym. And I remember after the first day, I was like, I'm not ever missing a day of class. Like this is awesome. And it was just like one of those things that it clicked. I was hungry. And I picked the stuff up. Like I was athletic enough to pick the stuff up. And I had to, obviously some of the stuff I had to drill over and over again, but it was just one of those things that naturally came to me, and hence the fast road to, winning belts and stuff like that. But I don't know. After the first day, I was like, yeah, I love this. I got to do this.
Tim, yes.
No, I was just going to ask, where was this gym?
It was in Millersburg. Yeah, okay. It was at the time. It was right in Millersburg. Yeah.
What was it called? Yeah. Oh.
What was it? We have a different name for it. Personal Combat Systems.
Yeah, it's all right. We were just trying to shout them out, but it's cool if you don't remember.
Yeah, I think the first name was Personal Combat Systems.
Okay, cool.
So, how long were you? Sorry, Ray. We're stepping all over each other. Now, how long were you training before you took your first amateur fight?
I think it was 6 or 7 months.
Wow. Really?
Yeah. I think so. It was around 6 or 7 months. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
When they
Dude.
offered it to you, how, like, were you like, all right,
Bro, I was like, at the moment, I was like confident. I was like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna beat the shit out of someone. Like, whatever, it's gonna be awesome. And then it was fight day, and I was like, oh no, like I gotta fight tonight. Like shit. So I get to the venue, like it was all cool and everything, and I was like, I was flexing and fucking strutting around and shit. And my opponent shows up, and he's jacked. And I was like, I've never even been in a bar fight or anything. Like, none of that. I've never fought besides like my brother or something like that. And so like shit got real like super quick. Like I was like, this dude's massive. And it's like his third fight, and it's my first one. And he didn't even make weight.
Oh no.
And so like I had to go, like I was 2 pounds underweight. He was like 4 pounds overweight. I had to go, and he was so effed up from cutting weight that like he couldn't cut any more weight. So I was like eating Chipotle burritos and drinking water and shit to try to make the weight and everything to bump up and weight a little bit. And I don't know. It was a scary day for me. It ended up good, but it was a scary ass day before then.
When you got your first win and you realized, oh yeah, I'm a fighter now. How did that feel after getting that first win inside the cage?
That was truly the moment I was like, I gotta do this. Like this, I want to do this. This is what I want to do. And that was like, it was just like, and obviously I'm a fighter first off, but I also like being the showman. Like I like, I like, and that first fight I had all my close friends, family, like I had a whole bunch of people there. And ever since I started fighting, like ticket sales have been crazy and through the roof every time I fight. And that's like a big thing for me because I love having my people around me and stuff like that. And it was just that moment where the ref pulls you off and you just look through the cage into your all your friends are standing right there and they're just going nuts. And I was like, God, this is over. This is what I'm doing right here. Fuck cutting hair. I'm doing this shit.
That's awesome. You do have a pretty good following, man. What happened there, man? How do you like? I know a lot of people who don't do the kind of things you do, like the internet stuff and the media stuff and the talking. Like, has that been something that comes easy to you?
Yeah, and I have had some good people around me giving me pointers and stuff like that throughout the whole way. But being from a small town, I was a high school athlete on a successful basketball team that a lot of people followed, and then opening businesses in the community to where, I'm seeing, as a barber, you're seeing 15 to 20 different people a day. So I'm building relationships with people every day, day in and day out. You're building relationships with people and just being like, not anything extra, honestly, just being a human and talking to people and stuff like that. That's enough to get people to your fights and want to watch you do something, not being a piece of shit and running your mouth, all that different stuff. Just being a human and being nice and respectful to people. And that'll put people in the stands trying to watch you fight and trying to follow what you're doing. So,
hell yeah.
So it's been a fun time.
When you started to notice that people were coming along to more of the fights and getting those things, and when did you notice that all of a sudden you started to have, like, how many fights in did you notice, oh, these people are here to see me? Like,
it was the first fight. It was like, a lot of people came, but it was my first fight. So I was like, oh, cool. Second fight, it was pretty much the same people there. And then third fight my third amateur fight, which is the one I lost. I remember I realized, like, holy shit, these people all here to see me, because when I walked out, it was loud as shit, and I lost in the first round, and it was like silent in there. Like this kid's like in the cage, like he's all pumped up because he beat my ass, and it's silent. And I like stand up and I was like, damn, that was in front of everybody, and like everybody was here to watch me fight. And that's kind of when I was like, all right, like I got to go back to the gym, get my shit together. Everybody wants to watch me win. And so that's just, one of the factors that motivated me into, having the successful amateur career I did after that loss. So.
Oh yeah, man. And I can we can attest as comics being that way, where it's like all of a sudden bombing our asses off on stage, and like our friends and family are there.
Dude, our friends and family stopped coming years ago, man. Like
that is true.
They show up for the first like 5 shows, and then they'll be like, "We saw you do comedy." But I've been doing comedy for 10 years. You saw me do my first 3 sets. It's completely different now.
And that's good though that that you actually had that wherewithal, man. Because I've seen a lot of fighters, and even on the higher levels, once they take that first L, it's all of a sudden like, I don't know what I'm really doing. And when you see fighters on that level do that kind of stuff, do you have that same like empathy for them because you've experienced that, where you're like, where they train their ass off and like they lose a fight and all of a sudden their next fight isn't as good as the next one? Obviously you came off of a win after your loss, but like it's still one of those things where you can kind of like sympathize with that fighter.
Yeah, like I know what it feels like to lose. Like I wish I wouldn't know what it feels like to lose, but I do. And I'm thankful that, I was able to get past that and work harder and pull together a string of wins and stuff like that. But like, I do understand that it sucks to lose and stuff like that. But at some point you just got to say, fuck it. You got to go in the gym and just grind. Like I don't know. I don't know how to explain it really, but like, even like my pro fight, I lost my first pro fight. Obviously I wanted to win. I felt like there's some shit that needed to go different leading up to the fight. But at the end of the day, I lost. And sitting back and saying, shit, like I lost. I don't know what I'm going to do next. Like, it's not, it's not going to help anything.
Oh, no, I'm pointing at Tim. I'm using hand movements. Sorry. We're trying to figure out like a thing to do with like hand movements. So we're not like.
If it looks like we're trying to get you to steal third, we're just talking to each other.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
No, you're good. But, there's a lot of people, there's a lot of fighters who, if this doesn't work out, if their fighting career does not work out, a lot of them are lost. They put their identity in it. They don't know what they're going to do next. They don't have a plan B, which I understand. Like, some of the tough guys will say, I don't have a plan B. I don't need I don't need a plan B. I'm going to do this shit and I'm going to be a champion. Cool. That's awesome, dude. Like, great. But like for me, like, I mean, not trying to, be a douche or anything, but like if fighting doesn't work out, I do have a plan B and I do have something that work out. I just love this so much that, if I lose like I did, I'm going to go to the drawing board. I'm going to get better and I'm going to work harder. In my next fight, you'll see the difference. And I think that's how fighters should be. And if they can't, mentally get through that, then that sucks. It's going to be a rough outing for you next time.
Do you think knowing that you have that plan B, because you had the barbershop and obviously you can still cut hair and you have that other business, like, do you think it keeps you from maybe getting a little bit too nervous in situations like when you lose and maybe pressing too much?
Sorry, somebody tried to call me in the middle of that.
It's all good, man. Trust me.
I'll repeat the question, man. Yeah. Do you think having that fallback keeps you from maybe pressing a little too much? Maybe getting a little too nervous in your training and trying to do too much all at once?
Yeah, I think it definitely, like, it makes me sit back and really make calculated decisions on stuff, as far as like, I took a loss and I'm not just going to jump right back in there if I don't feel like I'm ready for it. Like, I feel like I have time. I feel like I'm good. I'm not stressed for money. I'm good. I'm sitting good where I'm at. I can take my time. I can grind and I can get in there when the time's right. And I think that is what's helping me, move forward, I guess. I don't really know.
Okay. Yeah, it makes sense, man. I wanted to ask you about that fight because I've watched that fight a couple of times, man. Number one, great fight, brother.
Yeah.
No, you didn't come out on the winning end, man, but you had a great fight against a dude who obviously knew what he was doing, man. Really tough guy, real long, lanky guy, kind of like a wiry fighter. Kind of fights a little weird. Those are dangerous guys to fight, right? He's real long. He's trying to do a lot of submissions. He's really crafty. But you had a heck of a fight. Also, that guy had a fantastic beard and mane too, man. As good as mine. Like, I was wondering, I'm like, man.
That mullet.
The mullet, yeah.
I knew that. As soon as I walked in and weighed, I was like,
dude, I want to cut mine and do a mullet, man. I'm going to cut mine and do a mullet. That's the next thing I'm doing.
Mine just grows into an afro. I can't really grow one.
One of those Amish froze we all heard about.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
But yeah, I was wondering. I'm like, man, I wonder what if he met that kid. He's like, man, I could do some shit to that, man.
I told him in the back because he had like half a pound. I think he was half a pound over or something. I think he was 170.5. And so he had to go to the back and jump rope for a while and stuff. And I was back there, like, putting my clothes back on after I weighed in. And I told him, I was like, bro, my barbershop's right down the road. Like, I can cut your beard off and you'll be on weight. And he's like, I should probably do that.
Fade him up.
He was a cool guy. I'm also not the type of guy to, like, go in there and try to big dick someone on fight day and get in their face and talk shit. Right. And so, like, most of my opponents, they've been like that. Like, we stand there, we do our shit. We know we're going to fight. We're not going to be douchebags to each other, and we get the job done. So, yeah, he was a cool dude. Brian was a cool guy.
And I will say this, he had probably the most, like, chiseled abs, because there was one part where, like, he had your back, and he was bent like this way, like forward a little bit. And I'm like, oh my God, like, what is?
Yeah, he was strong, man. Like, he was, I don't know how, I think he was like 6'2". I don't know. So, like, to make 170 at 6'2", I mean, I know a lot of people do it, but you're gonna have to be pretty lean.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I'm focusing on right now is putting on. I put a weight room into my house it was right after quarantine. I put a weight room into my house, and so I've really been focusing on my strength, my conditioning, putting on some size as a welterweight. I just felt like I was a little bit small for a pro welterweight, starting out and stuff like that. So I put a weight room in my house, been grinding, putting on a little bit of size, some muscle, making sure my cardio is good. So my plan for my next fight is to come out and definitely be the stronger guy and be ripped up like that too.
Oh, hell yeah, man. That's the one. And, like, I wanted to ask you this, when you first started out, what was, like, your two things that you excelled at? Was it like jiu-jitsu, wrestling, and then, like, what kind of striking art did you have? Because I want to ask you more about, like, you mentioned cardio, and Brazilian jiu-jitsu is a hell of a way to give you a shit ton of cardio in 10 minutes. It's crazy.
Yeah.
What were those things that you excelled at when you first started out?
It was definitely jiu-jitsu was a big thing. We've always, me and my coaches have always felt like my power and my speed on the feet is solid. I've just had, especially during my amateur career, I kind of had trouble trusting it. Okay. I always had, I was so explosive that shooting in on people off of a punch and stuff like that, taking them down and then controlling them was always such a big thing for me that I didn't trust my hands enough. As soon as I got the chance, I just threw a punch, got underneath, took them down. I mean, that's what I did pretty much through my whole amateur career and I did that in my pro fight too, was just throw big punches, shoot underneath, take them down, control on top.
Yeah.
And, I felt like, we felt like that whole time we were like trying to get me to stay up more, stay on your feet, take your time. And that's really what I'm starting to understand now, the patience factor and sitting back and waiting and relaxing, and picking people apart versus just going in balls to the wall, rushing in, and then being tired by the second round.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been focusing on lately. But yeah, like earlier in my career, it was, shoot in, take somebody down, get on top and control them.
What belt do you have?
I have a purple belt in Renzoku Jiu-Jitsu. I'm not our gym doesn't do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, it's Renzoku Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know.
Yeah, it's all kind of the same thing. The base is the same. I'm a casual. I call myself a casual white belt. Like I go into the gym when I can, kind of thing. And actually, I noticed we had some mutual friends on Facebook that from American Revolution up in Euclid. Yeah, I love all those guys. So there a lot of those dudes I started out with at the other gym.
From there?
Logan Urban. We had Eric Posen on a couple episodes ago.
Yeah, I actually just sparred with Eric on Sunday. Actually.
Okay.
He's a good dude. Yeah, I just met him for the first time on Sunday.
He's a great dude, isn't he?
Dude. Great dude, yeah.
Oh, he's that like silent assassin type where it's just so nice, and then you're like, you could rip my head off. Why?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then
he's a cool guy. He invited me to come out to the gym and stuff, so I think I'm gonna go out there and move around with those guys at some point here.
You should, honestly, because the guys at American Rev, I've known George Comer and Tim Stafford from the Griffinroll days.
Okay. Are they the coaches there?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
George is awesome. We're gonna try and have him on the show soon. But it's George he's another silent psychopath. Like he'll look at you and smile, and you're just like, there's something about this guy. I need to be friends with him.
Yeah.
And then Tim, we joke around, never smiles. So just kind of, that's the one. If you get a smile out of Tim Stafford, it's a good day.
Yeah. Yeah.
But all those guys are great. Yeah, dude. Go up there and enjoy and see them, because they're fucking amazing. All of them. I learned from those guys a lot of stuff, and also from Practical Self-Defense. Shout out to those guys. That's just a free plug because I love Jeff Starr and Paul Renberger and all those guys so much. The jiu-jitsu saved my life, dude, for real. Like I was going through a huge depression and like after a breakup, and I decided to do it. Oh my God. It's the one thing where I'm like, I feel good afterwards.
It does that. Yeah. Like I honestly, like during quarantine, I wrestled and grappled every day, and I didn't do any striking during quarantine. It was literally jiu-jitsu, wrestling the whole time. And I would literally find myself like in bed at night, like thinking like, damn, all right, like if I take the bag this way, roll this way, like I'm like going through, it gives you something to think about the whole time. You're like thinking about it, and it's just, you can't stop.
If I have like a pillow, I'll like all of a sudden just run through like chokes and just all that.
Throwing up triangles on your pillows.
Dude, it's weird. Exactly. It becomes a part of you. It's almost like natural. It's this weird thing that our bodies should have been doing this entire fucking time.
Yeah.
And jiu-jitsu and grappling in general, for some reason, it just infests your mind. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Love.
It's like a puzzle, and you're trying to add pieces and make it better and make it more flowing and everything. You're just thinking about it the whole time. That's why I like it so much. Yeah.
For sure, dude.
Ray was talking about the people he knows. All the people I know in martial arts are all the toolboxes down at Route 250. Stay away from those guys. All right.
Nice.
Yeah, they're a bunch of losers, man. You don't want anything to do with those guys.
Leave Andrew alone.
Yeah. I like Andrew, dude. Don't talk shit about Andrew.
No, dude, I talk shit about him because he's been one of my best friends for like 12 years since before he was fighting. We had him on too, and the whole episode was shit talking. So it was fun.
Andrew has helped me a lot as far as if I have questions. He's been in this game a long time, and just kind of encouraging me as far as, because I'm new, like I'm still super new to this game. I've only been in it for 3.5-4 years. And so there's sometimes like shit that I want to know, from a fighter's perspective.
Yes.
And, the ideas of fighters and how he views shit and stuff. So he's always kind of been there for me to just shoot him a text and be like, hey bro, like, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? How did you do this? How do you go about this? And like, he's been like an open book, dude. Like he'll tell me what he thinks. He'll be honest. And so he's helped me a lot at the end of my amateur career and beginning of my pro career. He's kind of, always been there to encourage and help me. And he's always there when I want to train too. So
yeah, he's big into helping other guys. I think he enjoys coaching just as much as he enjoys fighting, if not more. Yeah. But man, he's had 16 pro fights, and he's still going, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's cool, man. Everything I know, and I know about as much as Ray does, but with judo, I've learned from that guy. So I had one MMA fight. We talk about it all the time because it was kind of hilarious. But
we still need the video. We still need the video.
What happened?
Actually, it wasn't that bad, but it was a while ago. It was like 7 years ago. Andrew is in my corner. I trained for 2 weeks, and I gassed out.
2 weeks.
I gassed out in the second round. I gassed out. I won the first round probably. Andrew says I did. I think I did too. Second round just ran out of steam, and I got TKO because I couldn't get up.
Lucas, there's nothing more I
want.
That
was fine, but it was fun. We're trying to find a video.
Yeah, there's nothing more I want than to break this down on the podcast. Like just break down each part. Like
go through the fight, slow motion, everything.
We're trying to find it. I've never seen the video. I know it exists.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, the video is like everything. Right?
Yeah, I've been asking Scott Corbin to look. He said he's going to look. I don't know if he has it or not. Someone has to have it. I know someone has it. So I've been putting messages on Facebook, like putting $40 up. I was like, I'll give $40 to anybody who finds this video. Yeah. At the time, I didn't have $25 to buy the DVD. So
nice.
So I don't know what happened. But yeah, we got to say that'd be a lot of fun.
Here's some things for like younger amateur fighters. What's some stuff that you would say, like just basic things really, like for preparing mentally for your first fight? Like what would you say would be some things that you would give it like advice for?
I've had this conversation with younger amateurs that are on my team, and especially this young kid, Briar Cadle. I think he's 2-0 right now. He's getting ready to take his third fight here soon. The biggest thing, my issue too, was getting way too excited and letting your emotions run free.
Mm-hmm.
Like just not checking stuff. Like my first fight, like I'm not a shit talker, and like we're getting ready to walk out, and like the guy's in front of me, and I'm like running my mouth like the whole time, and like just calming down, putting some earbuds in, whatever you need to do. And just relax. Like that's the biggest thing for me is I wasn't able to relax. I let my emotions get the best of me. I let that anxiety and that, that adrenaline get the best of me. And then all of a sudden when I'm in the fight and it's the second round and that adrenaline kind of like starts to leave a little bit, you're like, oh my God, like I'm fucking dead. And so, the biggest thing is just like calming down. And you probably hear this all the time, but getting your mind in like a happy place where you're just kind of like, all right, like I'm good. Everything's going to be all right. Like, and you just go out there and do your job. I guess that's the biggest, word of advice I have. So
I love it. Love it, man. Let's get to know you a little bit on like a personal level here. What kind of like music you into? I want to know that. Like what kind of like music gets you pumped up for like, even like what's the kind of walkout music you like, that kind of stuff?
I've done a little bit of everything. I've done some rock. I've done a lot of rap. I've done country. On my walkout songs. I honestly, like, I listen to pretty much those three: rock, rap, and country. It's
nice.
A mix of everything. But before a fight, like when I'm in the back and I have my headphones on, I'm always listening to country because that always keeps me more calm. And even like I noticed that like if I'm doing a hard cardio workout, like if I'm on the treadmill, if I'm doing sprints, long distance, whatever, I can keep my heart rate in check. Like as far as like my breathing and stuff like that, better if I listen to country. I don't know why.
Interesting.
Yeah. What kind of country, man? Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Anything.
Like
I like Toby Keith. I like what else do I like? Honestly, I like any country that women aren't singing. Like, I'm sorry, there's not very many women country singers that I enjoy listening to.
Keep the bras out of my country music.
It is kind of true, though.
I'm sorry for that, but I just can't listen to women.
Hey, man, you can like country. Whatever you like. It's fine.
Yeah.
It is kind of true, though, because like I'm a fan from like the '90s because I lived in Houston for a little while, and like I went to the livestock show and rodeo, and I got to see all like. Honestly, for female country, I would say like early 2000s was like the cutoff for like good female country artists. Like we were talking before the podcast, me and Tim, about like Shania Twain. Like I'm a big Shania Twain fan. I like her. But like after that, it just became this like I'm trying to even think of like Joe D. Messina. Like I like a Joe D. Messina like song every once in a while.
I don't even think I know who that is.
She's a redhead. She's like a redheaded
like kind of like Reba McEntire looking thing.
Yes, but a little bit more, a little bit more on the man side. I'm not gonna lie, she's gorgeous. Don't get me wrong, but she's got like a very strong jaw.
Ray, Ray, does she cut hair?
No. Not that I know of, man. But it's I've seen Reba McEntire actually at the Astrodome. Like that was that's one of my claim to fames of like living in Houston is I saw her open with Fancy back when that was like a big ass like song, dude. I love that song. That's a great one to I know this sounds weird, but that's a good one to like train to. I don't know why, but it's just that drum beat and everything. Yeah.
Nothing makes you want to throw punches more than a song about a woman pouring out her daughter. I'm sorry. I was just going to ask, anytime I hear someone say like country, I've asked them this question, man. You like Tyler Childers?
I don't listen to, actually, you know what? This summer I started listening to him because I was working out with Ashton Eiler. He's a wrestler from Iowa Central who went to I think it was Lock Haven this year. He transferred to Lock Haven.
Okay.
But that's like literally he listened to that like every day. So I did listen to him a lot this summer during quarantine when we were lifting.
I'm a fan of him, man.
I didn't mind it. I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, I don't know who he is, so I'll have to check him out. I'm so in the dark on a lot of music. Like stuff.
He's real country, right? He's real country. He's like what we were talking about earlier. We were talking about this before the podcast. One of those country artists that's too country for country.
Yes.
Those guys.
Yeah.
Which is only a thing in country music. No one's ever been too metal for metal.
Yeah, no. That's a weird thing that like because even like Hank Williams Jr. back in the day was like even shunned by like mainstream country because they considered him like too outlaw. I'm like,
yes, he wouldn't be on the radio now.
Shit.
Yeah,
that's the good shit though. Like,
yes, yeah. What's your favorite Junior song?
Is he saying "Country Boys Can't Survive"?
Yes.
Yeah.
I love Matt Hughes song. Walk out.
Yeah, I love that song.
I love those. My favorite's Family Tradition because like I'm sort of the black sheep. Well, I'm sort of the black sheep of my family anyway, so it's kind of like that's my personal like theme song for life.
Yeah,
for sure, dude. And then like metal, like hard, like what's some hard rock bands you like to listen to as well?
Dude, honestly, when I walk out to a rock song, okay, so when I listen to rock, I got to be in a rare mood in the weight room.
Okay.
Buzzing off of pre-workout. Like I gotta be like just fucking like going nuts. And when I do that, I don't even know half the songs or like have a favorite band or anything. I literally type in rock and I usually get like what's that one? Is it Disturbed? They play like Down with the Sickness.
Yeah.
Like stuff like that. That's that shit that like I gotta be in a rare mood, I gotta be pissed off and I gotta be buzzing off of some pre-workout and I go in there and I just lift heavy shit. That's when I listen to rock. Yeah.
I've always been a big fan of like Slipknot when I'm like lifting and stuff like that. Because as soon as you hear like the opening to Wait and Bleed and you're like doing curls, you're like,
yeah. That's that shit where you gotta be alone because you might honestly like kill someone. Yeah.
This is a big one for me just because I like this band and they get me. And also it's George Comer. If you really want to get in good with George Comer, I'm giving secrets out on the air. I don't care. Right. Mushroom Head. Mushroom Head is one of those bands when I'm working out. You hear, I don't know if you're familiar with them. They're from Cleveland. They're originally from Cleveland.
Okay.
And they started out like, I'm 31. I don't know how old you are.
I'm 24.
Yeah, okay. You were young when the whole Mushroom Head thing was really starting to pop off because that was like 1999, 2000.
Yeah.
Their stuff is just like, I call it angry white boy music. Like it's just, and you're just like, why is this so good?
Yeah.
And especially they have a song called Never Let It Go, which I remember I actually made George Comer.
Isn't that off of that? What's it called? That movie with the princess and the ice and the snow.
No. This is way harder.
Oh, let it go.
Let it go.
Let it go.
No, that is absolutely. That's what Ray listens to when he power lifts. The cold never bothered me anyway.
Yeah. That one.
That's exactly what happens. Ray, how come we always ask people about Mushroom Head? We had Master Ken on.
I love Mushroom Head.
You talked about Mushroom Head.
I ask the hard questions that nobody is allowed to ask in the media, okay? Like, what is your favorite Mushroom Head song? Everybody should know what. No.
Yeah, it's because no one cares. That's why.
And that's been since 01.
At least you're not asking them questions about the Juggalo lifestyle that you live or anything like that.
Well, I am a Juggalo, too, so that's always a fun time. What do you think? That's something I want. Since we brought it up, why not ask? Do you know any Juggalos? Do any Juggalos get in your general vicinity? How do you like the music of the Insane Clown? No, I'm kidding. I can't even do it my own self.
Could you imagine a Juggalo in Berlin, Ohio?
Yes. Ironically, I can.
They're fantastic. Right. All right, hey, you know what, man? I'm going to get this back at a little bit of track because I have some questions. All right, here we go. So before your last fight, you went out to Vegas, right? You went to Extreme Couture. What was that like?
It was cool, man. Like solid guys out there, solid rounds. It was different, man. Like
Literally, I would wake up, I would go train, I would come back, I would eat a little food, go back to sleep, wake up, go train, come back, eat a little bit of food, go to sleep, go train again at like 5:30 p.m. That's what I did every day. So it was just different.
Was Jessica I out there at that time?
Yeah, I met her out there actually the last time I was there. But yeah, she's out there. There's just a lot. Like, it's just one of those gyms you go into and you're gonna see like people you see on TV all the time, which was kind of cool and is different. But no, it was a good experience. I learned some good stuff. I definitely feel like I got better. Yeah, I don't know. I was just out there to get better, man. Like, I feel like I did that.
And I was actually about to ask, like, going to a bigger like worldwide known gym in Extreme Couture, did you, and they always say in MMA there's levels, did you notice that immediately? And
yeah,
what was the thought process when you realized,
yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like, man, like it kind of gives you a perspective on like, all right, like this is what I need to work on. This is what I'm pretty good at. It just kind of, it like highlights the things that you need to work on. It highlights the things that you're good at, because you're like, when you're working with people at that level, you know, if you're doing what you normally do and shit, like this is working, this isn't working, this is what you're getting your butt kicked on. It just kind of blueprints everything for you and makes it easy for you to see what you need to work on and stuff. So I really think that it's good for fighters, young fighters and new pro fighters and even like amateur fighters to get into those gyms and see those guys and get rounds in with those guys. If you're with the right people, and make sure you have somebody there with you, that you're not just going in there and these guys are just, tearing you apart and stuff like that. So you got to be careful. You got to have the right people around you and stuff like that. But it is good to get into those gyms and see what you need to work on and see what you need to improve on. So that was like the best thing for me. And the biggest thing for me was just seeing what I need to get going.
How does that work when you go out there? Like, do you just get a hold of them and say, I want to come out here. What do I have to do?
No, I have one of my good friends lives out there, Max Rosekoff.
Oh yeah. Okay. I know. I saw him fight recently.
Yeah. He invited me out. I stayed with him, at Robert Reisel's house and, just trained with him all week. Did exactly what he did. Just followed him around and went where he went. So
yeah, that kid has a really interesting skill set, man. He's like all motor.
Yeah.
That wrestling skill. He wrestled at NC State. Was that it?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, man. He's
from Millersburg too. So that's how I know.
Yeah. I think I did know that.
He went to West Holmes.
Oh, cool. Yep. Yeah, they have, man. West Holmes is one of those schools always has a good wrestling team too.
Yeah.
He just got cut, right? Is he?
Yeah.
Got to get that raw deal. The UFC gave him he was a substitute fighter. Came in short notice, lost the fight, and then they cut him. But he's young though, right? I mean,
yeah, I think he's a year older than me. He's 25. So he's got a really good future ahead of him. It's just up to him to do what he's gonna do.
What do you think about what happened with this fight? I'll break it down real quick for people who don't know. After the second round of his fight, he told his cornerman that he was done. His cornerman said, "No, you're not." Something like that, right?
Yeah.
It's like, "You're a champion. Keep going there. Keep going." And the ref overheard him. The ref said, "Do you want to continue?" And he said, "No." There's a bunch of controversy, I guess. Like, was he in the right? Was he in the wrong? The cornerman. I mean, what do you think?
I think what everybody needs to focus on is the fact that Max did come out in an interview and say that he's 100% behind what his coach did, trying to push him forward. And as a fighter, like I know, like as a fighter in the cage and stuff, how you feel and what's going on and stuff like that. But I wasn't there. I can't, I can't say what happened and stuff, but Max did come out and say that he supports 100% with what his coach was doing. And I know him and Rob have that relationship. So I think people need to focus on that versus, what everybody else is saying that had nothing to do with the situation. So.
Right. No, I agree with you because I think it's much more of an issue, kind of like the opposite. Like I take more of a issue with corners not helping a guy out when he's getting destroyed. He has no chance, sending him out there for the fifth round because he wants to die in the shield. But you know better. All he's going to do is going to get hit. Worse, that happened recently with Anthony Smith. Right, it happens all the time. And you're like, that's when the corner should. In that case, if he doesn't want to fight, he just tells the ref he doesn't want to fight. It's different.
Yeah.
So I think it's a completely different scenario. So I didn't think it's a problem at all. Yeah.
And that's the thing is Rob and Max spend, they're together every day and Rob knows Max better than we all do. So,
I don't know, maybe there's something there that he saw that he needed to do. And I think that whatever happened in that situation was what Max would have done if he was cornering a different fighter too.
Right.
So, yeah, I don't know. I'm just not going to say anything because I wasn't really there. So it's not my place to really say anything about it.
That's always been a problem in MMA is that Monday morning corner, you know, like where it's like, oh, they should have did this, they should have did that, like immediately. Even that's been an issue in fighting. I mean, for millennia, really, if you think about it, is that idea of should you or should you not let it? Do you think that should be a coach's decision or like straight out? And I mean, and I don't even know. I lost my train of thought. Yeah, can you talk amongst yourselves? I don't.
I think we just went over it, Ray. I think we just went over it.
We did.
Much, right?
I tried to ask a different way, and
it's
it
all right.
didn't really go my way.
It. See, I think it's one of those things that, like Lucas said, no one knows.
Media-wise is what I'm talking about.
No one knows Max more than his corner.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, and for example, like in my first pro fight, like after the fight, and I probably should have tried to focus on this more the third round, but a lot of people are like, dude, you should have stopped taking him down, you know, and all this different stuff, and you should have stayed up with him the third round. But what happened was I freaking blew my load in the first 2 rounds, and I was so tired in the third round that when I was standing on the feet, I wasn't moving my head, and I was standing right in front of him, and I knew if I kept doing that, I was going to get beat to piss because he was the one coming forward, and I was against the cage moving. Yeah, I wasn't moving anymore because I was so tired because of the mistakes I had made in the first 2 rounds. So I knew, you know, the fight is 1-1. And the first round I had success with taking him down, controlling him. And I knew that if I took him down and controlled him, that I would have a good chance of winning the fight. And so, you know, there's a lot of people saying you should have stood up. But like in that moment, I knew if I keep standing up and not moving like I'm doing, I'm going to get beat to piss. And that's why I took him down. So it's just kind of like, it's one of the things where it's like the fighter knows what the fighter's feeling. So it's hard for people from the outside to say, you know, you should have done this, you should have done that. Yeah. But, you know, they don't actually know what you're feeling and what's going on in the moment.
Exactly.
Yeah, right. Yeah. You're always perfect in hindsight, you armchair fighter. Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, now you say you should have done this. Yeah. You weren't in there getting punches thrown at you.
Yeah. And in a perfect world, like in my situation, like in a perfect world, yes. Like I would have definitely won that fight if I would have had the energy and stayed on my feet and moved like I should have moved. But that just wasn't the case, and I made some mistakes and kind of blew my load in the first 2 rounds.
Plus, that was your first 3-round 5-minute fight. Sorry, that's what I was trying to say. So, but you get to the point. You said you blew your load, so you get to the point you're so tired in the third round. You're not Lucas Mast anymore. You're just a shell of what you used to be, and you can't really say you should have did this. You're like, dude, I was just trying to breathe, right? I'm sure that's what it was like.
Yeah,
I mean,
and that's the thing is like that fatigue will take that, you know, it'll take that courage and that strength and all that shit and just turn you into it's just my body in there at this point.
Yeah, it's that mob-like mentality. It's that
dude, like fatigue will make a coward out of any champion. Like it's just, I mean, if you get to that point, you got nothing left. I mean, everybody's got that autopilot mode, which is what I hit in that third round, but you're not the same fighter once that happens. Yeah. In my opinion, anyways.
And we've seen that with many professional fighters in like Bellator, UFC, where it's just they're high level, but somebody else's gas tank is like right above them, man. And it's hard to watch that because you just watch somebody just lumbering like they have nothing left, man. It's heartbreaking sometimes.
Yeah. And I've been on the other end of that too, where you know, in my amateur fights, you know, a couple of times in the third round I remember my second title and my third title, both fights ended in the third round with me finishing in the third round. And the guys that I was fighting were tired. And I could, like, it's just like you're almost fighting, like, you're fighting a heavy bag at that point.
Yeah.
Like, they're just kind of like standing in front of you and moving. Once that happens, you're just, you know, you're the fighter with the more energy and you're still good. It's like you're hitting a non-moving object at that point. So it just kind of, I've been on the good end and I've been on the bad end of it. And I know both of those feelings that it's not fun to be on the bad end.
Yeah. I was going to ask you about one of those amateur fights that I watched against, I think, the Liggett kid.
Yeah.
Did you knock him out cold from the crucifix position?
It appeared that way. I'm not
because
sure
I don't think
exactly
I ever saw that before because it looked like he was out cold. Because I've never seen anyone do that before, especially an amateur, right? Because you can't throw elbows.
I felt like I did hit him with a good amount of like, you know, the right hands there, but like I felt like it was just like little rabbit shots. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then when I switched, so I was hitting him with the little rabbit shots, then I switched to hammer fists. And I connected with like 2 hammer fists and then 1 little rabbit shot, and that's when he kind of just went out. But like I wasn't sure if it, like, I was kind of torn between the fact of like it was like he went out or he was just like, I can't get out of this, I'm done.
That could be it.
So like, I wasn't sure what happened, but they said it was
I saw the ref step in.
Like, I'll take it. Yeah.
Yeah, when I saw the ref step in, I didn't know what happened either. You were on top of him in that crucifix, which was cinched in so nicely, dude. I was like, it was sexy to see, man. Like I'm always a fan of side whenever I
love that shit. Yeah.
Side control crucifix are the best.
Yeah, dude. That fight. And all in my training, dude, every time I like grapple with new people and shit, I put them in a crucifix right away just to make them feel like they suck.
Nice.
And so, yeah. And not like new white belts. I'm just saying, like, fighters come into the gym, I put them in there just to like let them know, like, hey, motherfucker, like, yeah.
That's always gonna be a fun thing too. We'll get to that in a second, but continue with your thought. I want to ask you about that.
So it was, you know. That happened in the second in the Liggett fight or whatever. And then the very next fight, I fought Cameron McIntosh. And at the end of the second round, I put him in a crucifix. And he ended up getting out of it right when the bell rang. But I was, like, punching him pretty good after that. And I knew because I knew as soon as, like, they were so worried about that crucifix. Because as soon as I locked it in and started punching, his coach was yelling, like, you know, bridge, bridge, bridge. Because I know they had practiced that because they saw me finish with that before. And so that's when I was like, that second fight is when I was like, all right, everybody's scared of this crucifix. I need to start like trying to like figure out new ways of getting into it and stuff. So I got all these like sneaky little ways that my jiu-jitsu coach has been showing me to get in that. So I love the crucifix, man.
That's a great move, man. Without a doubt, you don't feel any more in control of somebody.
That's why I love it. It's just like you're punching and not getting punched, and it's awesome.
Especially now that you're pro, brother, you can throw those bows on them, man.
Oh yeah,
yes.
Cut them up real good.
You have fought in Ohio amateurs. Have you branched out to any other states? And what do you think? No. Okay.
I haven't. I fought in Ohio this whole time, but at the end of this year, since what's going on in Ohio right now, I might be branching out to like a southern state somewhere to fight.
Kentucky or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. And probably end of fall, beginning of winter time, I want to get one more fight in this year. So.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. Have you and your people been looking at other states for fights?
I don't. What was that? Sorry.
I said, have you? I was going to ask if you and your people have been looking at other states and what they're doing to see if you can get a fight.
Yeah, we haven't been looking like super hard right now because of the wedding.
That's
really focused
makes sense.
on getting that done. And then our honeymoon's until like September 10th or something like that. And as soon as I get back, we're going to start really looking because I'm in good shape right now. I feel good. My sparring, everybody I've been going with and sparring stuff, I feel solid. I feel ready to fight. I just need I want to get like a solid 2-month camp in. So I'm thinking like winter time, right beginning of winter, end of fall. I want to get back in the cage. So probably once I get back from the honeymoon and really start thinking about when I want to set that date for is when we'll really start looking for someone. So.
How do you think? How do you think you feel fighting without fans? Because your last fight, right? You've had all these people come to see you. It's going to be the complete opposite. Not a home crowd, not a crowd. Period. Most likely.
Yeah. I'm honestly when I think about it in my head and I run through a fight in my head, like mentally think about fighting with no fans. I'm honestly I feel like the adrenaline and the nerves that I feel before a fight will still be there, but honestly. Like when I'm in the gym, it doesn't matter which gym I go to. Like if I travel to spar, if I'm sparring at my home gym, whatever, I love being in there with nobody watching. Like I feel like I'm at my best when nobody's watching in the gym there and stuff. So I feel like fighting with none of my fans around. And even if there's people from, out of town, I'm fighting with a hometown guy and he's got all those people there.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like there'll be that chip on my shoulder factor where I'm like, all right, man. And it's kind of like Brian, like when he came into my hometown to fight me, like I could tell he had that like, oh, we're in your hometown and everybody wants you to win, bet. Like, and so I think I'll kind of have that factor going into a fight like that too.
When you mentioned going like when another fighter comes like into your gym and you put that you try and put them in the crucifix right off, when you're sparring with another fighter that just comes in to kind of, train and see the lay of the land, if you will, what obviously show respect and everything, but is there a part in your mind where you're like, all right, we're going to establish pecking order today and
there is, but you have to find a good line in that though.
Yeah,
like
I agree.
And so like if I'm sparring with somebody in our gym, or even if I go to a gym and I'm sparring and stuff like that, there's got to be that mutual respect, and you got to know who you're sparring with too. Like you don't want to go in there with somebody who's like shakes your hand and says, all right, cool, and then the first punch is a haymaker to try to knock you out. So you got to know who you're sparring with. You got to know who you're dealing with. And then like I go from there. Like if I know, all right, this kid's like, they're in my gym, they're probably going to follow my pace. So I'll set the pace. So I'll like show them what, first round, I'll show them what we're going to do and what speed we're going to be working at. But yeah, like obviously it's still a fight. Like it's still like you're still working to get better and you're still trying to, use your tools and stuff like that. So yeah, when there's fighters from, different gyms and stuff there, yes, I'm trying to use my stuff and I'm trying to get the better of them. But at the same time, you got to find that line where it's like, I'm not trying to kill you, dude. Like, I'm just trying to use my shit.
Yeah. And it's sort of like the way I always look at it from like that perspective is more of like just, hey, you're in a new school kind of thing. You transferred from a different city kind of thing. And we need to just be like, okay, calm down for a second and let's go kind of stuff.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yep. All right, man. This is a question that we've been asking every fighter we have on here. Ray likes when I ask it, and we don't want to ask just cookie cutter questions that everybody asks. So here we go.
I feel you.
All right, here we go. Who's the biggest bitch that you fought?
Biggest bitch that I fought?
Yeah, biggest bitch.
So I respect every one of my opponents except for the first guy I ever fought because he didn't make weight.
Yes.
And I still was respectful to him, and I went to shake his hand, and he wouldn't look at me, and he was crying.
Oh.
So that was before the fight. That was like at weigh-ins. Like he missed weight, and like we told him like, hey man, just go outside and run a little bit and try to cut more weight, and he like started crying. What? And I was like, and after all the like we finalized everything, we re-signed the contracts to be a middleweight fight. Yeah. And I bumped up in weight. I freaking puked after I ate all the Chipotle and water after cutting weight. Oh. And so I did all the work, made the weight, and I was still like, you know what, dude, fight's going to happen. I'm happy to fight, shake my hand. Went up to him, tried to shake his hand, and he shook my hand, but he like looked away. He was crying the whole time. That's when I was like, bro, you're a bitch. Like,
yeah, no, man.
Every other opponent I've had, I'm cool with them. I think they're great people.
Yeah, that could be the definition of biggest bitch you fought. Was he in pain?
That's the gold standard.
Yeah, I think he was. I think mentally he was a little fucked up from the weight cut.
Yeah.
Because they said he was like slurring his words and he could barely walk and stuff. So he was messed up.
Oh my God,
man! You can't have somebody do that, man. As an amateur fight, especially
as an amateur, dude.
You weigh in the same day. Yeah.
I'm like, bro, just fight at 85. If you're because he was cut up, bro. Like he was big, he was cut up, and I'm like, bro, you're an amateur middleweight. You're not an amateur welterweight. Like I don't know why you're trying to cut like this. But they said, and this is the other thing. They said he was 20 pounds overweight 2 days before the fight. Try to cut 20 pounds in 2 days.
Oh my
crazy
God, man.
Yeah. Because what do you weigh in at like 10 in the morning or something for amateur fights? Yeah, that's crazy, man. The same day. Yeah. So you were fighting 170.
He was like way late to the weigh-ins because I was standing at the front door. I was thinking that I was going to get, not a no-show for my first fight. And I had sold, a bunch of tickets. And I was sitting there like, man, I'm not going to be able to fight. And so I'm standing by the front door like waiting for this dude to show up. I'm like, please, just come. And car pulls up to the, this SUV pulls up to the front door. He's like half an hour late to weigh-ins. And he crawls out of the trunk in like trash bags and shit, covered in sweat. And I was like, oh God.
What kind of psychopath? Oh my God, he got himself kidnapped basically to lose weight.
That's
Like,
pretty
what
much
the hell?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, and then we found out what they were doing was they were driving around the block with their heater on in the car, trying to get them to sweat out that weight.
What?
Dude, that's not healthy, man.
No, that is.
It's not healthy for a pro fight, but especially an amateur fight where you get away and day up.
But if you do it right, though, like the weight cutting thing. So let me see here. So Max Rosekoff came in from Vegas for my fight to help me cut weight. And I had never done it this way before. And I had asked him, I said, you know, what weight should I be the night before and stuff? And he told me, be it like 180, 179, 180, the morning of weigh-ins. So weigh-ins were at 7 p.m. fights on Saturday the next day. He said on Friday morning, be like 179, 180, but hydrated 179, 180. Don't be like dehydrated. So like I was hydrated. I had, just dieted, ran, got my weight down to 180. And I was like nervous because I'd never been this heavy the day of weigh-ins before. I was like, holy shit. Like we started cutting weight at noon. I was 170 by like 2:00.
Nice.
And I was great. I was feeling great. I was sitting in my room watching TV, just waiting for weigh-ins to happen.
That's
awesome. It was
awesome.
10 pounds down just like that. Yeah, it was quick. It was pain-free. I wasn't sitting in the sauna. Like I didn't get in the sauna one time. It was nuts.
We have a discussion that we've done with a few fighters talking about weight cutting and divisions in MMA. Obviously, the UFC has their weight classes, and then there's that nice 20-pound jump between middleweight and light heavyweight.
Yeah.
And what do you think there should be? I want to ask you this question. Do you think there should be more weight divisions in professional MMA because of the fact that you have such a big gap in some of them, like some of the weight classes, like that?
It would be heaven sent if they put a 165 division in.
Yes, we've been saying this.
For me personally, if they put a 165 in there, I'd be like, oh, thank God.
No,
yeah.
No one we've asked says anything different. I think the only people that are against this are the UFC, and because the UFC is against it, then everyone else is kind of like the trickle down system. They just do what they do. They follow the leader, and that's unfortunate.
Yeah,
I could make that cut. I haven't been 155 since I was like a freaking 7th grader, and so like there's been talks of me dropping down to 55 at some point, maybe trying it, doing a test cut and stuff. But that 65 limit, that would be like beautiful. Like, because I know I could make 65. I know I could make that. But 55 is like, damn, dude, I might kill myself type of thing. You know what I'm saying?
And it's and like you said, your first fight, the guy was so dehydrated. A lot of times dudes are going 40 pounds down and their bodies can't handle that.
Yeah.
And it's just, it looks gaunt. I mean, one of my favorites, we were talking about like showmen and shit talkers, Conor McGregor. Anytime he went down to 145, it looked like he looked like he had been in the movie 1984. Like, it's like, ew, like, what are you doing? Please.
Yeah.
And one is doing hydration tests for like their fighters, which I think is a good idea, and kind of keeping guys at what they assume is their healthier weight.
Yeah.
Do you think it's because of the fact the UFC is so slow? Do you think it's just because like the progress and everything? I always say the progress is the slowest part of this at any juncture in life. So I think it's going to be another probably 10 years before they really start getting that conversation in, man. Like, if you think about
it. I think it would be the only thing is with that though, if you have those in between weight classes, you're going to have a lot of champions jumping weight classes to try to get the 2 belt stuff, which I don't know if it's a bad thing or a good thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you're going to have, somebody wins, the 155 belt and they're like 65 is 10 pounds. Like, I'll fight there.
And so they start, and then people are just jumping weight classes like crazy. So I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but like for me personally, I would love a 65 division.
I mean, they already have that with flyweight to featherweight, right? The 10 pounds, 10 pounds. And it does happen a little bit, but it hasn't been a bad thing.
They already have that. But if you think about it, if they have those in-between divisions, they're going to have every champion doing that.
Yes.
Yeah, and also those are the two most stacked divisions, 55 and 70. So that's one of the reasons I think it's a good idea, because those divisions are so stacked. You add one more division, it's not going to dilute either of those divisions. They're going to be fine.
Yeah, you're going to have a lot of guys in the bubble finally finding their weight class for sure, man. Without a doubt. You'll have guys at 170 that'll be able to just be like, yeah, let's drop 5 pounds and I'll fight. And even fights, like guys will be able to fight a lot more too. I think at least, because you'll have that thing where it's like, all I got to do is lose 5 pounds. Like that's, we're good. Let's party, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, Raymond.
Yes, sir.
That's everything I have, brother. I think it's about that time.
I dig it, my friend. I dig it for sure. Logan. Why? I'm thinking Urban. That's why.
Come on, don't insult our guest, man. Come on.
I'm not trying to. Please don't kill me, sir.
Right there on the screen.
We're good.
I'm begging for my life. But Lucas, it was a pleasure having you on, my friend.
Thank you so much, sir.
This was awesome. I really like it. I really like to have you on. We'll have you on we're going to start doing some roundtables for fights as well with fighters.
For sure,
and have you guys on and have got more fighters on as well, because we want to get the interviews flowing for this as well, my friend.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it was great. During quarantine, everything kind of went dead for a little bit. And I love doing this shit, so it was nice to finally have something again to get on and talk about. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. No problem, we're going to put the camera on you, plug all of your stuff, and we'll go from there, my friend.
All right. Well, thank you guys for everything.
Well, no, I meant the plug your social media is all the businesses, those kind of things. Yeah, give us the plugs.
Follow me on Instagram, Lucas_Mast. I don't have a Twitter because I don't really care what most people have to say.
You're a good man for it. Trust me.
Facebook, just look my name up. Just follow me on all that shit and kind of follow my journey and see what I'm doing. So I appreciate it.
And also, I like your stuff on Lucas Mast, your YouTube channel. I was watching some of those before the interview. I like those interviews a lot, dude. Those
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you. Yeah.
Tim Danko, what is your social media handles where they can find you?
At Dig Danko. DIGDANKO, Tim Danko on Facebook.
And I am at Ray Hyclak across social media. And you can find at Bro Plata. That is BROBROPLATA. That is how you can find more updates, episodes, all kinds of stuff on our Anchor, Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, and wherever else you get your stuff from us. We are glad that you guys have been with us through this journey. Episode 14 is in the books, and we are having a great time doing this for all of you. Thank you for your support, and we will see you on the next episode of the Bro Plata.